Hi, everybody. Mike Davila here. I'm one of the partners of College Inroads. Today, we're going to be talking about the resume. I know that this topic can really be a source of stress for some people. There's a lot of misconceptions around a college resume. So what I want to do is debunk some myths. I want to get into the nuts and bolts of how to actually put together a really nice college-bound resume for you. And before we begin, I want to thank the educational consulting team of College Inroads. Everyone had some input into this process. So lots and lots of people who have lots of experience have looked at this over the years and have chipped away at the stone. Just as a point of reference, the resume that you'll be working on is an adaptation of the extended resume format for UT Austin. So we like to use it for UT. We'd like to use it for pretty much any selective university out there. Now, let's get into the nuts and bolts. Will colleges require you to have a resume? The answer is no. So why even bother doing one? Okay, so it is an additive. It is something that can really help set your record apart, number one. Okay, number two, it's a fantastic tool to use with your teachers to gain teacher recommendations. Let's face it, they don't know everything about you. You sit in class with them for many hours a week, but in the end, they don't know everything that you're doing outside. So they have a much better picture of who you are when they go to write your recommendation letter. Three, if you're going to have the chance to interview with a college rep, it's always great to have a resume, for sure. And then finally, kind of looping back to our first bullet point was the application process. So if you do this resume correctly, you should have a much easier time getting through the Common App, the Coalition app, Apply Texas, the California app, MIT's specific college app. All of these are essentially college resumes that have been disaggregated. Okay, so you have a chance really to start working on your application way ahead of time, okay, with guidance, with support from College Inroads. So those are the reasons to do a resume. So some myths about the resume. The resume, a lot of people come in and say, oh my gosh, it has to be one page. Okay, that's for a job. That's great if you're applying for a corporate job after you go to college. In the world of college resumes, it's really common, especially with extended resumes, for them to be 2, 3, 4 pages long. So this isn't a place to be shy or to be exceptionally curt in your writing or in your explanations. Now, that said, I do want to make a note and a caveat in that the Common application, for example, when you go to the activities section, which is what a lot of this data is going to be pulled into, they only allow for 150 characters of text to go into the description. So it's fine to use more than that in your resume, but just know once you get into application time, you're going to have to crunch some things down into 150 characters. And if you've done bullet points, it's usually pretty easy to do. Okay. Other myths, the resume, I hear oh my gosh, I haven't done anything. Well, no, you've lived. Okay. So there's usually a lot of things that you can comment on, even if you haven't done a lot of community service or leadership or have special juggling talents or whatever. No worries. Your educational consultant is going to help you pull all of your life's experience into things that can help in your resume. Okay. Another myth is that no one reads these things. Nope. If you supply it, for example, many colleges in the Common App will allow you to upload a supplemental resume. It's always a good thing to do. Okay. So, and it will be read just like anything else that you submit, unless it's not asked for. Like if you sent in, some miscellaneous schoolwork to be evaluated or something, or flowers, those things are not going to be part of your record, but the resume definitely will be if you submit it. Some schools will allow you to upload a resume, not as part of the application, but part of your application portal, I guess is the best way to say it. So if you're going to apply to a specific school using Apply Texas, for example, there is no resume upload possible. but it is possible usually to upload your resume at the college's web portal. Okay, so a couple myths there. So let's dive into the resume example. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen. I'm going to come back in. Give me just a sec to pull this up. So first and foremost, we're going to go to this screen. So this is available to you on your portal. So in your general file, if you went into your dashboard, for example, and you come into files, under general folder, it's going to be here in this section. Well, this is a notional student, so they don't have it, but this is where yours will reside. Okay, this is very specific to you, and so you will have this particular format assigned to you. So let's just start at the top. Number one, if you're not super familiar with Google Docs, you can just simply put your cursor and click, and it's going to give you the comment over here to the side. So, hey, if you need to see a fully formed resume example, great. Click this link, and it's going to take you over here to this resume example that has everything filled in, okay, just as a notional student. Okay, great. Number two, definitely put your cell phone. Do not use your school email. I highly recommend not using your school email during the application process, because for some schools, they cut you out of your email over the summer. Sometimes it's hard to get back in. It's always best to have your own, like Gmail or other, personal college-specific email address here. Yep, definitely put your name. And then over here to the right, if you like, you can put a picture. Nice headshot is, what some people will do. We don't have an opinion. If you feel strongly that that's going to help your admissions chances to put a picture in, fantastic, go for it. If you're shy, if you don't want to put a picture in, no worries, don't do it. Okay, so it's really your choice. Okay, next section, education. So really here in this section, you're just putting some basics down. Your high school, your name, or I'm sorry, the high school name and GPA, city, state, zip, the years that you have attended and things like that. Now, once you get here to the weighted, unweighted SAT, ACT score, now this gets to be a point where you have to use your judgment. So if your GPA or your SAT score is going to help your admissions process, fantastic, list it here. If you feel like it's a detractor or it's something like, hey, I'm going to go test optional because I'm not a great ACT person, no worries. You do not have to put those things in here. But if you have any questions, as you're going through this, ask your educational consultant, they'll help you with that. Okay, you can also, if you like, if you have a STEM endorsement or an interdisciplinary studies endorsement, or if your high school has specific like bonus graduation plans or things like that that really align with your major, then fantastic, put that in here as well. Okay, so under the major and career goals, this is really important. This is very similar to what you would find in a job resume as a cover letter. So this section sets apart your whole resume. It kind of contextualizes everything that goes beyond that point, so definitely have 4 or 5 sections in here about why you want to choose why you've chosen your particular major, what you've done to prepare yourself through either schoolwork or out of school projects and activities, things like that. And any background data that you feel like they would really benefit from when talking about your proposed major or career. Now, believe me, I've had students come in and say, hey, Mike, I'm undeclared. I have no clue. I'm too interested in too many things, or I don't want to commit. That is completely fine too. If that's the case, then what I want you to do is change the title of this particular section to college readiness or something like that, that helps, and then write 4 or 5 things on how you've gotten ready for college, just period, end of story. Okay. Second section, leadership. Now, past this, major and career goal section, you can change the order of these headings. So for example, if you have far more stuff to list for extracurricular activities and you feel like, hey, that really is a logical place to begin right after this major and career goal section, then move the whole extracurricular section up in the resume. No worries there. You can customize this. Here, I've just put leadership at the top, just guys. And then extracurriculars here, I made a note here, only 10 extracurriculars can go into the Common App and 8 for the Coalition app. But again, don't let that limit you. Here on the resume, list as many as you possibly can and want to, okay? Oh, I'm sorry, back up here. I want to back up here for a second. It's really important for each position in leadership, each activity for extracurriculars, to add the hours per week and the weeks per year that you've gone and done the position's work or the activity for extracurriculars, okay? Then over here, it's probably pretty self-evident, but 9, 10, 11, 12, these are the years, freshman, sophomore, junior, senior, that you participated in leadership position number 1, let's say. Here, it's really important that all of these bullet points are led by action words. And if you are like, okay, what's action words? What are verbs? No worries. Click on this little tiny URL over here that's going to give you a giant list of action verbs that you can use, organize. That's just one word, but there's 1,000 action words that you can use to kick off these bullet points. It's always really important to lead with action words. And again, 150 characters max if you are trying to make sure that these bullet points are going to be easily transferred straight into the Common App. If longer than 150 characters, I'm not sweating that, but just realize that you will have a little bit more work to do come application time. Okay, same thing. So what we've done is we've given you leadership, extracurriculars, community service, work experience and internships, summer activities, honors and awards. So you can see, for example, it doesn't take a genius to realize, hey, work experience for most of us happens in the summer. It can happen during the academic year. And summer activities is another section. So you don't want to list the same thing twice, okay? Likewise, okay, I only have work experience, I don't really have a whole bunch of other summer activities to talk about, great, delete the section for summer activities. You do not have to have stuff for each one of these sections. This is customizable. If you have another heading that you want to put in, fantastic, you can do that too. Okay, so this is just a good, solid starting point for your resume. Okay, so a lot of people are like, okay, well, by the way, Mike, what am I supposed to be doing in the summers? What is available? Okay, well, if you're interested in like summer enrichment, for example, these are kind of like college courses that you can take, or for high school, they're geared to high school students, but they're courses that can last a couple days, couple weeks, usually housed on a campus of a college. Okay, and so this little link here will take you to the not an exhaustive list, but a huge list of summer enrichment programs that you might be able to take advantage of. So take a look at that. All right, honors and awards, you're going to see that's not going to have any kind of hours per week and weeks per year. That makes sense. And then talents and interests, sure, you can add those as well. So I want to flip over to the next page, because this part is actually really important as well for your Inroads consultants to understand even more about you. So down here, listing 5 character traits and some explanations, challenges that you may have overcome. What is your identity? Like, hey, I'm an avid reader, great. I'm a dog owner, great. Those sorts of things. Not obvious leadership experiences. Yeah, I'm the oldest daughter or son in my family. I take care of kids all the time, whatever, great. Those are the kinds of things that we need to know about. What do you want to do in college besides your studies? What are your academic strengths and favorite subjects? All of this is going to be used when we start to jump into essay work. Okay, so very important that you fill this in as well to the best of your ability. So I'm going to jump over here to the resume example, which is again linked here. Right up here. Yeah, a fully formed student resume example. So we're going to jump to that. And this is Joe Doe. Again, not my school's email. Here is the educational kind of stuff. Nice high GPA, so let's go ahead and display that. 1320 SAT, the student felt like, yep, let's go ahead and display that. STEM endorsement for the school, that's optional. If you want to put it in, great. That doesn't mean a ton to the colleges, but it definitely does synthesize the idea that you are working, this particular student is working toward perhaps engineering, which is what you would find out here if you read through the major career goals. So I'll let you read that on your own. But then you can kind of see some of the things that we've talked about. So for under leadership, for example, this notional student was the vice president of the robotics club. Now notice that for some schools, you have to really apply to the major, like UT Austin, for example. There's something called fit to major, which means that they're evaluating you not on the general construct of getting into the major university. They're looking to see how will you perform in the engineering division or the engineering school. So in that way, for all of your activities, leadership, if you have something that relates to mechanical engineering or engineering in general, you're going to want to lead with that data here. So you can see we put robotics at the top. And then extracurricular activities, again, robotics, we repeated that, but it kind of talks about the robotics club in general. You know, hey, I learned multiple computer programming tools and languages, helped win 2 competitions, et cetera, et cetera. No, notice, participated, assisted, learned, helped, you know, repaired. You know, these are all action verbs that you can use. And again, we put small engine repair, engineering research. Now, a couple things here to notice. This is not something you're going to do in high school, right? That's something that may have happened as an interest outside. Again, this is an outside research kind of thing. It's not super formal, but it definitely shows interest and kind of a dedication to the broad field of engineering. Things like car customization. Then you kind of see some more traditional stuff like National Honor Society, baseball team, things like that. Community service. You can kind of get a sense of the hours again, hours per week and weeks per year, so on and so forth. Again, action verbs here underneath each of these work experiences, honors and awards. Don't sweat it, guys. If you do not have honors and awards, that's okay. A lot of people don't. Okay, so that's not a big deal. At the very end, talents and interests. Sure, these are kind of like funky, interesting, just personal stuff. Yeah, I've learned basic electric guitar. You know, I'm becoming conversant in Spanish. I love barbecuing and fishing or whatever. Great. And then you could kind of see an example of a notional student filling in those more qualitative kind of questions at the end. All right, gang, this is longer than I was hoping, but I hope this gives you a little bit of more in-depth information on the college resume. Have fun with this. Definitely spend some time with this. This is going to help you so much in the application process. If you have any questions, text into your portal to the College Inroads team and we'll be right there for you. Thanks, gang. Have a great day.